there was somebody standing next to me all of a sudden. I never saw who it was, but they leaned in and whispered in my ear, "The Lord needs you to tell your story." Went a year with being undiagnosed and went to being almost an invalid. I can't even explain how bad or how hard this year and a half has been. And to be able to share that and maybe help somebody else, like I said, will all be worth it.
You know, it's literally been hundreds of people that have been impacted. I believe that God put me on the earth to help heal people.
Hey, I want you to meet somebody else. Come on over.
Are you serious?
This is one of our stories that has had incredible impact, and this is the update. Ashley McQuivey, dealing with Lyme disease. Well, this is when we went back a few years later to see what impact her first story had. Hi there. Can you help us with our TV show?
Absolutely, you're the story trek. I know exactly who you are.
What's your name?
My name's Ashley.
Ashley, I'm Todd.
Nice to meet you, Todd.
Nice to meet you.
So cool.
Did you ever think we'd end up in McCammon, Idaho?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
She never thought it, but she dreamed it.
What's your story? What are you all about?
I am all about, in the last year and a half, was diagnosed with Lyme disease.
Wow.
Went a year with being undiagnosed and went to being almost an invalid. And so...
And look at you now.
And look at me now.
When I met Ashley, she was sanding doors. Something simple, but impossible just a few months ago.
I got really sick, pretty much bedridden, a year and a half ago. I couldn't get a doctor to listen to me.
Except to diagnose her with just about everything.
By the end of last year, I had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, with ulcerative colitis, with Hashimoto's disease, and the beginning stages of MS.
Lyme disease is not uncommon. The usual suspect is a bite from one of these nasty little guys, a tick.
I can't even explain how bad or how hard this year and a half has been. And to be able to share that and maybe help somebody else, like I said, will all be worth it.
That's been Ashley's dream, letting others know that there's hope. Hope battling a disease that almost killed her.
And I battled the Lord. I battled him. I thought, I'll go to the ends of the earth for him and for my Savior. And my legs were taken out from underneath me, and I wondered why. Why? And then I stopped battling him, and I started accepting that this was meant to be, and that there was things that needed to be learned, and it wasn't just my lesson to learn. I didn't think I was going to make it. In fact, I knew I only had months.
Ashley finally learned about chronic Lyme disease, something many doctors refuse to acknowledge. She found one of the leading treatment centers in the world was right up the road from her in Pocatello.
I'm standing here, antibiotic-free, no drugs in my system other than for my thyroid, and I'm healthy, and I'm happy, and I'm where I'm at in 5 months. I'm a miracle. I'm a walking miracle.
And there's Ashley's dream to help others with her story because she dreamed I'd show up in McCammon, Idaho.
In fact, I had a dream about 3 days ago you'd show up. It was crazy, and I got to share my story, so thank you.
Wow. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. No. So when I saw those cars pull up and I saw you step out, I was blown away.
You're blowing me away right now.
It's been an amazing year and a half.
Wow.
But I'm standing here and I'm alive. So, and the fact that you did it on my doorstep, go figure. It's a great day.
Yeah, you look great.
Oh, thanks. So do you. I get emotional just watching you walk up here. Oh my goodness. Me either. Well, for criminy sakes. Just roller coaster ride of life. Trying to beat back this illness and get feeling better. And then my husband lost his job and then got a job, but not making what we were making, and we were barely making the bills before that because all the medical bills we had were still paying on.
So at the time of this interview, they were living with Ashley's brother.
My brother and sister-in-law, awesome people, and they just said, hey, we'll help put a roof over your head while you figure things out. So It's not, almost 40 in this stage in your life. I tell people I have less. We're probably starting out like we were newlyweds. We have less now than we, probably as when we were newlyweds. But Lord's at the helm. There's reasons for everything.
That's the way Ashley has always viewed life and her illness, knowing there must be a higher meaning in it all.
And you said you hoped that maybe your story would help somebody.
If it would help just one person, just one, then it was going to be all worth it. All of that, all of this was going to be worth it.
Ashley's story did help someone.
So glad to see you. I love you too.
Carrie Wood from Arizona was bit 25 years ago. Her symptoms started 10 years ago, and she says without a doubt, Ashley's story saved her life.
And I'd been going to doctors in Chandler and Phoenix area, and I wasn't getting any better. And so my mother-in-law had happened to see you on the story track and saw Ashley, and she said she has Lyme disease. And there's a place up in Pocatello that can help. And so we called and got in there about a year ago, and now I'm doing great. I was in bed for about 2 years, so this is wonderful.
Her husband, Jerry, tells me it's a miracle to have his wife back after countless doctor visits that couldn't solve the mystery. And then his mom saw Ashley's story.
Tell me how grateful you are to Ashley.
I wish I was as tough as she is. Because from the first day we met her, that's one tough lady, one special lady. And to put your life in front of people, and all in hopes that somewhere it'll help something, That's got to be tough.
Especially considering Ashley's health.
Stop for a second. It's a slow process. For a minute. I lose my hands for a minute.
When I first met her, she had a mild seizure, just her hands. Nothing compared to the multiple-hour, full-body seizures she suffered several times a day. But in this new interview, she told me something I didn't know about that day.
That was my first good day. When you rolled up, that was the first day I got off the couch. I felt strength. I felt like I can get something done today. And I'm not one to sit idly by. So I decided I'm gonna help my husband. We need these cabinets done for the bathroom, so I'm gonna go sand them.
It was almost like it was meant to be. Of course, Ashley did have that dream.
Explain to me this dream.
Okay, so 3 days prior to you coming, I had a horrible night. It was hurting really bad, and I couldn't sleep. And we don't get TV. We don't get even local channels. We get nothing. It's just static. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll put a movie in and I can hopefully fall asleep to that so I'm not thinking about how much pain I'm in right now. And so I turned on the TV and was getting ready to get up to go put a movie in, and the BYU channel's on, and it's the story track. And I'm going, oh, the TV's working. Well, I ended up falling asleep watching the story track, and all of a sudden, I'm in my house, in my living room, and there's a knock at my front door.
Ashley McQuivey is telling me about the dream she had 3 days before I showed up at her house.
I open it up, and it's Todd, Hansen, and his crew. It wasn't just you, it was your crew, cameras and all. And you said, we're here to hear your story, all happy and stuff. And I said, I'm not ready to tell my story. Like, my heart, literally, skipped out of my chest. No, I'm not ready to tell my story. And there was somebody standing next to me all of a sudden. I never saw who it was, but they leaned in and whispered in my ear, the Lord needs you to tell your story. And I woke up, and I thought, wow, that was a crazy dream, but it felt so real. And I just chalked it up, okay, I dreamt about it because I fell asleep watching it, so no big deal, right? And then 3 days later, I had my first good day.
And that's when we showed up, just looking for a warm body, anyone in the tiny town of McCammon, where we were not supposed to be.
We were supposed to be in California doing that episode, but the permitting process when you try to shoot anything in California can be a problem. Time-consuming, tedious. And it came down to the fact that it just wasn't going to happen. We weren't going to get the permits in time. Backup plan was Idaho. So I told my producer, I'm pulling the plug on California. Let's go to Idaho. And
What day was that in that?
that was 3 days before we ended up at your house. So got a map of Idaho. As I do, close my eyes, drop a marker, it hits McCammon. So, just a big coincidence, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Neither one of us believe that. I've had too many experiences where I felt led to stories, and Ashley knows she needed to share hers, even if she may not have wanted to.
It gives you purpose. It makes it worthwhile. It makes it the pain or the seizure you just had all of a sudden doesn't feel so bad anymore. And you don't feel sorry for yourself anymore because it's not about you. And that's the best part of it. It's not about me. It's so much bigger than any of that.
It is so much bigger than Ashley ever imagined.
Doctor.
Hey, how are you?
Great. I'm Todd. Nice to meet you.
I'm Jason.
Dr. Jason West, a.k.a. Dr. J, a.k.a. Miracle Worker.
I believe that God put me on the earth to help heal people.
I know that's the reason why you've done so well.
Dr. J and Ashley both believe she only had months to live when she found the West Clinic. But after several treatments and improved health, Ashley was saying goodbye. The McQuiveys were simply out of money until an anonymous donor stopped Dr. J in the clinic.
He's like, Dr. West, I need to talk to you. And I thought, oh my gosh, we've offended his wife. We've said something wrong to him. Like it was that kind of tone. Whereas when we stepped into the room and he pulled out a piece of paper, which was a check. And he said, Jason, I need to pay for Ashley's care. But my only requirement is she doesn't know who it is. And he said, what do you think it's going to take? And I said, look, I'm really touched. Like whatever you do, I'll match. So if you want to do, a series of 10 or 20 treatments, I will do, 10 or 20 treatments.
I'm alive, I'm functioning, I am doing so good, and I owe them my life.
And somehow, some way, Ashley always wanted to pay Dr. J back, but never had the means to do so.
I'll pay you back. And I'm like, look, I'm not worried about that. That's not why we're doing this. And she's told me years before, maybe it was months before, I'm going to be on like a TV show or something, and I'm going to tell people about what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, that's great. Never ever thought it. And then she told me later, hey, Story Trek came to town, and then they were trying to find someone, and they found me. And I said, no. I had a dream about you, and you got to hear my story. And so that's kind of the story from my side of, and I've never had that happen before, where someone would just stop me in the hall and said, look, I need to help her.
Ashley's promise to Dr. J came true when her dream came true. And the response has been beyond her wildest dreams.
I know every time it airs, I have people call me, everybody that called me were amazing people. And we're not just talking Utah or Idaho, we're talking the United States. We're talking parts of Canada, Florida, Texas, New York, Michigan, Montana, California, all over. And my heart was full.
My dad, who was a doctor I was in practice with, said if you put your heart and soul into helping people, they'll tell other people, and then you don't have to worry about advertising or marketing. And so, in the back of my mind, I just thought if I help her, she'll tell other people. I never thought it would go to this level. And she always said something like that, something big's gonna happen to you because of my story. But I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like she's saying that, but it's not really gonna anything happen. And wow, talk about, it's literally been hundreds of people that have been impacted.
Are you surprised at the response that she received just by telling her story on the Story Trek?
I kind of expected it, honestly. She's always pulled people in.
Her family are Ashley's biggest cheerleaders and are so thankful to have her back.
It's amazing because we get to do things together again, and she's not always on the couch. We play board games when we're home, or I help her watch Gabe, or we watch movies, and it's fun. And we just go shopping, have fun together now, so it's amazing.
Where traditional medicine failed Ashley, the West Clinic, with its holistic approach to healing, gave Ashley her life back. A story repeated countless times in Pocatello.
You have Lyme disease.
Yeah.
What's that been like?
It was a roller coaster until I got to Dr. J. And he gave me a vitamin that I didn't know existed. And it was hope. Yeah.
Jennifer Jacobson had to be carried into the clinic and says in this room, the IV room, a place Ashley calls sacred, she's found that hope.
This room is where I've healed. Yeah. They become my family. It's just not a place where I go to get treatment. They're close to my heart.
Don't treat the disease. You got to figure out what's wrong with the patient, give the patient what they need, and they'll respond and get better. And sometimes that's, some mind-body help. Sometimes it's the right vitamin. Sometimes it's the right mineral. Sometimes it's the right, adjustment or the right acupuncture treatment.
Dr. J will never claim to be able to heal everyone, but the West Clinic will likely take a completely different approach than what most patients are used to.
The guy with the hammer in his hand, everything looks like a nail. So when you go into the doctor that's trained in prescriptive medicines, his natural, okay, let's give you a prescription. If you go to a surgeon and he says, how can I fix you with surgery? I mean, it's not a bad guy or inappropriate therapy or anything like that. It's just that's what I'm trained to do. What I'm trained to do is to do the non-surgical, non-prescriptive approach, which so many times people don't know or aren't aware of.
Like someone else who saw Ashley's story, who we surprised her with.
Hey, I want you to meet somebody else. Come on over.
Are you serious? Oh, no.
But that night, I was so ill, as all of us have in the night, so isolated and lonely. I just cried out, dear God, help me. Help me know what to do. And I was alone. And I turned on the TV, and there was that. It was like honestly, I still don't know how he loaded it, but it was Ashley. And I thought it was dreaming. So I watched it, and I cried, and I wept the rest of the night.
And then found the West Clinic, where Jan Jarvis says her life was saved.
People might not want to believe that, but there's deeper meaning to all of this. Look at this. Never in a million years would I think that me having Lyme disease would create this moment. This moment.
Ashley calls it the ripple effect that she says she's lucky enough to be a part of.
We were the drop. This was the drop, the story truck coming by that day, and we don't get to see a lot of the time the ripples. So this is, to be able to see just a couple of the ripples makes it worth it.
Worth all of it. And she still suffers, as we saw, when she had another pretty serious seizure. But she's found the meaning.
It about broke me. And the Lord says, but I have a bigger plan. And I've been able to serve others in a capacity beyond anything I could have imagined. Not just the people around me, not just people in my area, just people all over this United States.
You are one of the strongest, most noble people I've ever met in my life.
The ripple effect.
So this may be one of the longest stories we ever did, because there was so much to it, so much to this update. The people whose lives that she has affected, the clinic that helped her, that is now helping countless people from all across the United States, maybe across the world. And it's all because Ashley decided to share her story. Amazing woman, amazing story. If you like it, please give it a like. Tell me your comments. Tell me what you think about this story. And subscribe to this channel And then you can hit the bell, and that will notify you of future stories. If you're on Facebook, like the page, please. Make your comments. And if you see a follow, you can follow the page. What all this does is it helps us to continue to grow and hopefully produce more stories.